Welcome back, everyone. My name's Nate,
Hi, Michael.
and we are the Olympic Ultras. So, if you've been keeping up with the weather in Brisbane, we do not have a single game to review.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, but that's Mother Nature for you.
Yeah,
But
we got all excited. There was a cyclone that passed. Football came back, and we were all really excited.
yes,
We
yeah,
had so many football games to talk about last episode. We went through all of them, and not a single one has been played since.
no, but that's Mother Nature for you.
That's Mother
She's a
Nature.
cruel beast.
Yeah, it's as unpredictable as football is sometimes. So
It is so much so.
we are going to do what football's doing and just move on. And we're going to talk about this upcoming games on the weekend. We're not sure when any of the games are being postponed to. So if they do get postponed to say midweek next week before our next episode comes out, um, you can watch the previous episode where we touched on it, or just for the posts coming out of the Olympic Instagram and Facebook pages. So
Yeah, best to keep an eye if you wanted to. Keep an eye on Football Queensland's website as well. They'll give you an update where the games have been played.
yeah, exactly right. And with this varying weather changing situation, and now with all the games that have been postponed, they're going to be coming thick and fast. So try to keep up with the posts and get down there when you can.
Exactly right.
All right. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the women's first, as we always do. And in the league this weekend, we are playing Caboolture FC up at Caboolture.
Should be a good game.
It's going to be a good game. Two very early runners for first and second, two very early
Yep.
runners for the grand final. Of course, Caboolture Sports, really bolstered their lineup with the signing of Steph Latham from NPL leaders Brisbane City last season. Top goal scorer, golden boot, all that. Fantastic footballer. So
Yep.
that's
Exactly.
obviously going to be a very, very big threat that our team's going to have to look after.
Yeah, and if you get those players who will put that ball through to Steph, mate, she can be dangerous.
Oh,
You've got to be
extremely.
on. You've basically got to just block her out every time.
Yeah,
Don't give her an inch.
yeah. And she's already enjoying life in Caboolture colours. Don't get me wrong, she's not the only threat they've got, of course, but while we're on the Steph Latham vein, the game that they came back to last week against Virginia United, Caboolture won 3-0. She scored two of them. So she's already well involved in Caboolture and she's already
Yeah,
enjoying her
yeah,
life.
yeah. She's made a mark, and there's more to come. I no doubt.
Oh, I'm sure. I think she scored four goals in one game, excuse me, in the Kappa Pro series against Mount Gravatt. And she scored another goal against Palm Beach. So she's already scored like five goals in two games in the Kappa Pro series,
Yeah, yeah,
albeit against the lower opposition, but still, that's a big haul.
yeah. And I would dare say she would have a license to roam as well.
Yeah,
Um, she's one of those players who can just get a ball, hold a ball, and her shooting prowess is just ridiculous.
yeah, fantastic.
So you've got to be really careful of her.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be our first big test, especially not only for our the new tactics that Cam's trying to get us to play with the back three and the wing backs and things like that, but also just for our defenders in general. It's probably going to be our first really, really big test. And
100%.
it's probably helped us that it's come not only this early, but as we talked about again in the previous episode, with the rain and everything that's gone on, with the amount of games that have been delayed, form has kind of hit a big pause. Obviously she's
Yes.
come back and she's already scored two goals and Caboolture won 3-0, but that's just her natural talent. But still, again, the form's hit a big pause because we've played one game and suddenly it's or we've had to delay a couple of games again. So
Exactly.
but yeah, so probably our first really, really big test for the players. But you look at our defenders, between Vic, Captain Kiz, like
Yeah.
I'm blanking on a few of them at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, the way Vic holds that defense together and the way she controls that defense. I mean, she's got the skill to receive the ball, hold the ball, and distribute.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's talent in itself. And she's so good, she makes the time to do that.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. The
She
time is
makes it look
there
easy.
naturally to her. She's manages to find it with the pressing forwards.
Yeah, yeah. And her
Some of
passing
the
game is just brilliant.
yeah, and some of the players that I'm obviously blanking on are people like Sophia Kuba, and Lauren Spreadborough, and the other players who have actually managed to get into the first team and things like that. Again, every single player who seems to fill in any one of those roles seems to do such a fantastic job.
Absolutely. Yep.
But again, this is
It's
a
like
really good
a
test.
yeah, it's just like I don't know how you put it. No matter what piece you take out of that puzzle, you put another piece back in, it fits perfectly.
Yeah, exactly right. There's no
You
drop
know?
in
No.
standard or quality.
Yeah, yeah. Every player is just second to none.
Yeah. And but and some of these players will know Steph Latham quite well, obviously, because some of the players have come from the NPL last season. Some of them were playing in
Absolutely. Yep.
teams, such as Mitchelton. Some of them were playing with us and came down with us and decided to stick around. So, you know, yeah, she ran the NPL Queensland absolutely ragged, and it's a little bit of a surprise that she's dropped down to FQPL one. But on the other side of things, we should know her game pretty well. We've
Pretty
got
much.
players
Yeah.
who should know how she likes to run, and now it's the job of stopping her from doing that.
Mm. A lot of players don't really change their style too much.
Yeah,
You know.
and like, why
So,
would you? If
but
you,
then again, she may have an ace up her sleeve that we have to try and wait and combat.
yeah, exactly right. And I've got no doubt that Cam is probably taking this time to watch every single video he can find of not only Caboolture but of Steph Latham as well, and all the other
Yeah, you
players
don't
that
come
they
across.
managed to
Yeah,
come across and try to
yeah,
find a way to
you
turn
don't come
up.
across that sort of talent all the time, do you?
Yeah, exactly right. And especially in the second highest tier of our local football league.
Mm.
But again, this is going to be a hell of a clash because these are the two early runners. They're already first and second. Olympics first
Yeah,
on gold on goals scored. So the same goal difference +3, but we've got 4 goals scored. They've only got 3 goals scored. So they're already first and second. It's going to be
yeah.
a monumental clash.
It's going to be a mouth-watering game,
Yeah, just absolutely incredible.
really.
All right, so weather permitting, that game is going to be Saturday, the 5th of April at 6 p.m. up at Caboolture. Um, Probably one of our furthest away games. Obviously, Southwest Queensland Thunder will probably be the furthest if by distance,
Yep.
but probably one of the first away games for our women this season. So if you can make the journey, if you've got the spare time, definitely get up there and support the girls.
Yep, you bet. Yeah, they deserve the support and they need the support.
Yeah,
Let's get
exactly.
behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we jump on to the men's game now?
Yeah, might as well. There's not much else we can chat
There's
about.
not much else. We're not reviewing any match. So the men's upcoming match is against Wynnum Wolves in what should also be a very interesting match.
Yes, yes. I want a revenge game
Yeah,
from last
the
season. That
the
one.
second game wasn't enough. We want another revenge game.
Yep. I'm not going to hold any punches. I want them gone.
hmm For those who are unaware, last season we played Wynnum Wolves early in the season. We were 3-0 up at halftime. It was pouring rain. The game was played anyway because the rain arrived very late. I think it was about maybe half an hour, an hour before kickoff. Kind of took the
Yeah,
thrill
and
of
it
the
bucketed.
It bucketed down.
Yeah,
Us two mugs sitting there in shorts and our shirts, no umbrella or anything like that. Sitting there in the pouring rain. Our only solace was the fact that Olympic went up at halftime 3-0 lead to
yep.
go down 4-3 by the 61st minute.
That was a very hard pill to swallow.
It was a very, very difficult game to watch.
Yep, extremely good. There's not enough words to put in how low I felt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And But
We
in saying that too, that's not taking anything away from Olympic.
no,
I mean, Wolves come out with a whole different agenda
yeah,
for that second half.
yeah,
They obviously
they
saw the
figured it out.
spaces, they created the spaces,
Yeah,
they utilised the pitch to their advantage. And look, credit to them, our boys played really well, but Wolves wanted that second half more.
yeah, yeah, exactly right. And they
You know?
just sort of they played on that momentum. They came out of the second half, they scored one, and they
Yeah,
were high on emotion. They
yeah,
were
they got their
really
tails up.
yeah. They scored two and they scored three, and we were sort of shell shocked. And
Yeah,
and we just couldn't get back into the game. They got up 4-3, and they just had a really stout defensive line, and we just couldn't get out of it.
yeah,
We
yeah,
did manage to get our revenge in the second game of last season. I think it was a
yeah.
3-1 win, if I remember
I think
correctly,
so, yeah.
because we
Memory
had the
serves, yeah.
same moment. I think we were up 2-0 at halftime, and they scored just after halftime, and you and I just went, oh no.
Yeah. I don't want to repeat this. Please no repeat.
But we did come away the better of that one.
This
But
bloody
we
squad
did
worries me
also,
sometimes.
yeah, oh, yeah, me too. Oh
It'd
yeah, if we could just play the whole 90, no breaks, I'd be a much happier Olympic fan. But
be
here
great. Yeah, yeah, not a problem. Yeah.
we can't do that. Uh,
No.
but this is also the return of Jez Lofthouse.
Yes.
He actually played last match in their very late draw against St. George Willowall. Um,
Yes.
St. George
That
were
was a
2-0
scrambling
up,
affair.
yeah, for a lot of the game, and two goals from Wynnum Wolves, I think, from the 80th minute onwards, salvaged a point for that match. But Jez Lofthouse did play in that match, so he's obviously back and fit for Wynnum Wolves. And yeah, it's a bit of a return for the prodigal son.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, hopefully, one of our other ex young lads who
Yes,
went away from us last season, old Jack Meredith.
old Jack Meredith, who showed a
I'd
lot of
like to see
promise.
Jack play. I mean, he's a good young lad. He's a good player.
Yep, yeah, I guess showed a lot of
Uh,
promise. Had a couple of dreadful injuries.
yeah, they're
Kept him
really
out of the game.
really put him behind the eight ball.
Yeah, kept him
But
out of the game for a
good
lot of
lad.
the time.
Mm.
And possibly because of those injuries, just we Olympic had to find replacements,
Of
and
course. Yeah.
found himself too far down the pecking order when he came back and fit. So it's unfortunate. That's football. But Jack is a lovely person. We spent a lot of time
Yeah, good lad.
chatting to him on the sidelines as well. So it'll be good to see him again.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and would be interesting if he plays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, good lad. But yeah, let's hope he doesn't play.
Yes, exactly. But speaking of recovering, as of tonight, of the filming of this, Olympic has put up a couple of pictures of Hiroshi returning. Hiroshi back
Yes,
in training.
yes. A bit of
That
light
is,
training, get some strength training up.
yeah. Making sure that the injury doesn't repeat itself. Um, which of course we know a lot of the people around in the backroom staff of both the men's and the women's team. They're incredibly intelligent. They're not going to rush him back if it's unless it's
I've
needed,
got
and
him.
highly
No.
needed. So, but it's good. It's good to see Hiroshi back and kicking a ball around and not just sitting in the
Mm,
stands with a moon boot on. So,
yeah. The other day, I think I saw a film clip of Felix out in the pitch as well.
oh, fantastic! So yeah, we might see
So I saw him
that.
out in the pitch with the gear on in training. I thought that's a great sign too.
That is a fantastic sign. So, because
Yeah,
yeah, we've had a few unlucky injuries on the
yeah,
men's side of things this already so far this season, and as we also mentioned last episode, that's where the weather has really helped us this time around. It's allowed some of our players to sort of shake off those niggling things or give them, an
mm.
extra week or two before they've got to try to make their mark and come back. So,
And it's good too because it also gives the governor looking at the under 23s if he does have those options available to him,
mhm.
who can slot in, who can make that mark if we do have Hiroshi and Felix still unavailable.
Yes, exactly. And we do have a decent,
So
we do have a decent 23s. The
we
23
have a
guys,
great 23s.
that they're a lot of them are really smart. They've got a good head on them.
Yeah, good
Um,
lads.
they can play football, and and I've seen some incredible clips from them. I think it was Oscar shared a clip of one of his goals he scored in the 23s against Gold Coast United. It was an incredible goal. It was a fantastic goal. So If you can find that again, look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Wynnum Wolves is going to obviously be a very, very interesting game. They were also quite mid-table last season. I think they were pushing for top four, but just fell short in the end.
Yeah, they did fall through. They sort of had a bad run into the end of the season.
Yeah, and they were a little bit of an enigma last season where they would beat anyone pretty much fifth and below very comfortably,
Yeah,
but they would get absolutely hammered. I think they lost like
yeah.
9-0 to Gold Coast Knights, and they
I
got
think you're right. Yeah,
by Lions a couple of times and things like that. So
yeah,
they were a little bit of a weird team last season. So I'm sure they'd be looking for a
yeah,
little bit more consistency, and they've had a rocky start to this season too.
yeah. So, oh, we'll see how they pick up.
Yeah, exactly right. Again, with the rain, it sort of hits a reset on the form button again. But that one will be at home. That one will be at Goodwin Park on the 6th of April, which is Sunday, the day after the women's game. So if you missed the women's game, definitely come down for the men's game. Try to support the club and get back into the clubhouse. Get a feed, get some merch, support the team in any way
Yeah,
you can. Support the club
yeah.
in any way you
The
can.
lads will love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, they'll love to see, especially after how many games that have been
Yeah,
rescheduled, and hopefully this will be
yeah,
the last of them for a while because we've only got so many wet weather weekends and makeup weekends.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
not
I can see a lot
weird.
of midweek fixtures. I think there was only one. Was there one NPL fixture played last weekend?
In the men's, no, I think all of them got canned. I think there was one NPL women's
The
game
women's?
played
Yeah,
last weekend. I think it was Mitchelton played, I want to say Gold Coast Knights, but I'm not too sure.
yeah. I knew there was only one game played, and I thought that was quite incredible
Yeah, there was.
that it
I
went
was actually
ahead.
surprised that one game did go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
because we just had so much rain,
Oh, it's ridiculous, and
every
because
day
of
for a while.
because of the previous cyclone,
Hmm.
we've only had a few days for it to allegedly dry out.
Yeah.
So it's still wet underneath. Then we get this second rain, which I believe is from a cyclone from Western Australia,
Yes, and
which is
the
coming right across the state of
pushing.
Queensland
Yeah,
and pushing rain downwards towards the southeast corner.
yeah,
So we're still in for another probably few days of rain this week.
yeah. And there's only so much that the ground can soak up before it starts pooling, and then that water's got to go somewhere. Then the ground's got to dry. So
Yeah.
right,
And it becomes a danger to the players. Because the
it
last thing
does.
you want is a player, digging their boots in and twisting their ankle or
Hmm.
sliding in and unfortunately taking somebody's ankle through a slide tackle that you didn't really mean because of the
Yeah,
wet pitch.
yeah,
So it's also a massive safety issue.
yeah. But yeah, so yeah, bit of a delayed, bit of a stuttering start to this season simply because of the weather. But
Mm,
with any luck, it'll sort itself out. We're coming, into autumn and winter. Well, we're already in autumn, but we're coming into the cooler months now. So hopefully the actual rain will sort of start petering out, and we can
yeah,
back to watching the game
yeah.
we all love.
I've been thinking about this lately.
Hmm.
I, I did, we can actually start our season proper in April,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
run it through to September.
Mm,
So all those rain affected months, which is generally January, February, March, if you technically start it in April,
mm.
possibly after Easter, and play it through to the end of September, you'd have less cancellations, you'd have
Mm.
more productivity, more games being played. And if you wanted to at the start of that season, put in that Kappa Pro series and make it a 5 or 6 game weekend. And the
There is,
season proper, they can get on with it.
yeah, and there is a couple of leagues around the world that have a very similar group, the knockout stage, like our Capra Pro Series,
Yeah,
that have that
yeah,
as sort of a season kickoff tournament, a preseason
correct.
tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Play that, the winner, fantastic, and then you get into the season proper after
Yeah.
Easter, which I think
And
would
it's
be
not
a
as
good
if
idea.
it's not as if we've gone this year going, oh, unusual rain in Queensland.
Yeah,
It
exactly
happens
right.
every year.
It happens every year.
You can mark it on your calendar.
Yeah, maybe not the cyclone, but yeah, it happens. The rain
Yeah,
happens every year,
you
and
know,
there's always games being cancelled.
we always get
And
those thunderstorms.
and on top of that, the stuttering start of the Kappa Pro Series. I don't know if you feel this, but especially in the men's, but also the women's too, where you play a handful of group games, then there's like a month off, then you play the last
Yeah,
group game, then there's like a month off, and then you play the quarters, and then there's like 2 months off, then you play the semis and the final, so that they can have
yeah,
the final somewhere now near the end of the season where all the other finals are.
yeah.
You
It
stop
makes no sense to
caring.
me. Yeah.
Especially with the fifth game of the group stage where everyone still technically has a chance, or at least several clubs still have a chance. It
Mm,
comes around and people go, "What competition are we playing? Because we were playing the league.
exactly.
We're in the league. Oh no, we're in the Kappa Pro. What?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
play the whole tournament at the start of the season, get it over and done
yep,
with. You know,
yep.
because Football Queensland seems hell bent on making this competition a thing.
No groups, straight knockout.
Yeah, exactly
You
right. And
lose, you finish.
wouldn't be that hard. Very similar to how the League Cup is run in England.
That's it.
Top couple of divisions, straight knockouts, easy as no group stage or anything
Yeah.
like that. You can still have
No,
the
none
it
of
probably
these
ends up being
groups.
a
Yeah,
several amount of the same similar level of games. If you're out early, you can organize more preseason friendly games. It's not like
correct.
it's not like you've all
Absolutely
out.
correct.
So, but that's
Yeah,
just our 2 cents on it.
that's our take on it.
We had to pad this podcast episode out somehow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
but anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully, there will be some football on this weekend. If there isn't, you'll hear from us again next week, and we will come up with something to talk about.
Yep. Something short and sweet.
Something short and sweet. As we said last week, we love this club, and this is the place that we put our crazy. I'm sure we could come up with something.
For sure. Absolutely for sure.
Absolutely, for sure. We can talk hours and hours and hours about this football club, but
Yeah,
we'll leave it
you're not
here.
wrong. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully, we'll see you at the Caboolture game or at the Wynnum Wolves game at Olympic. Be safe, stay dry. See you then.
Have a great week. Ta-ra now.